cover it and push the paint into it with some difficulty, and made a picture. And wouldn't you know, it was a painting of a sailing ship in the moonlight. This took place more than 80 years ago, so I've been fiddling with paints and brushes ever since. So I will start in, and I hope you'll be able to see what goes on. I'm using a black acrylic, water-soluble, but I have tried everything from Rust-Oleum to lobster buoy paint. This is water.
Just a moment. Before you start, though, because you're back, I'm just going to have you stand at a slight angle so that
Oh, all right.
so that the camera can see you.
Mm-hmm, the camera's over here.
Yes.
All right. Is this satisfactory? I'll be glad to answer any questions which time permits.
Are you putting water on there right
This is water. Yes, ma'am. Water.
And then he's running it with his hand.
I have it in an old sweetener container, which is very handy. It has a little spout on it.
What kind of paper, Bill?
Fabriano, Italian, handmade. The company's been making paper so long that the town is named Fabriano. I have this paper tacked to this plywood with little push pins. I will start in 35 cents in Schofields. The paper is entirely blank. There's no drawing on it anywhere. My eyes are in my fingers. Putty knife. It's a smaller putty knife, a little spatula. It has a square end. pen, India ink. I remember the small branches on birch trees were generally black. So I will use India ink for that purpose. Pardon me?
Great black acrylic paint in that can.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand.
Paint in the can, what kind of paint was in
That is black acrylic, water soluble.
How wet is your paper, sir?
Pardon me?
Is your paper very wet?
Rather wet, yes. Now sometimes I'll use the pen backwards and lay it flat on the paper to get a broad stroke. Sometimes when I can blow on it, I can push the color about a little bit, because it floats on the surface of the water. Pardon me?
Can you describe what you're doing now, what you just took out of your pocket?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand.
Can you describe what you just took out of your pocket, what you're doing now? Your magnifier.
Oh, I'm going to try and see what I've done.
And
One of the New York critics wrote in his paper one time that I was continually going to the kitchen and stealing my wife's cooking utensils to use to paint with. I think I'll put a few birds in. Now, this brings up an interesting topic. It might be called seeing and knowing. And when a flock of birds flies by, even with good vision, all you see is a rather blur. But you know that the bird, I've studied little bird anatomy, you know how the wings are attached and all that, but you don't get to see that. So there's always a question is, do you paint what you see or what you know? Now, one of the fascinating things about what we call primitive art is they generally paint what they know. And sometimes you get very charming naivete portrayed. For example, Grandma Moses is a good example of that. And if she paints a painting of her cousin's house across the valley, she knows that the windows are 6/3 or some such thing as that. And she paints them, although from 1.5 miles away, obviously wouldn't see that. So there's always a question as to what to do. It makes it very interesting. I guess that it might be that there's a little bit of both involved in it, of what you see and what you know. So I'm going to put in some birds in this thing, and I'm going to do it with a pen held so that I'll be putting the ink on the paper with the back side of the pen laid flat on the paper. First I have to find the pen. Oh, there it is. Normally I would wait for this to dry a little bit before I do this, but we don't have that luxury of time here.